Hello everybody, in today's video we're going to be going over who will be seeing October snowfall this October. Now I think this October we will see quite a bit of snowfall, and I think the snowfall line will actually move a bit further to the south. I do think parts in the Rockies, the northern plains, the northern Great Lakes, and also parts of the interior northeast will get into some of the snowfall, and despite this, the rest of the east will be in some very cold conditions, and this would be borderline Arctic outbreak for this time of year. So we're going to see temperatures near 20 degrees below normal, and we'll also be seeing a couple of snow vents that could move through, again, the northern Rockies, the northern plains, northern Great Lakes, and the interior northeast. And that snow line, again, will continually creep further and further to the south as we start to get into November. Now, let's start off here with your current National Weather Service page. We have flood watches in effect for parts of Tennessee, Alabama, and Mississippi. We also see some red flag warnings in effect for parts of Montana, South Dakota, Wyoming, Utah, and also Colorado there. We see some wind advisories for parts of Idaho and Montana, and then high wind warnings for parts of north central Montana, where you could see wind gusts up to 80 miles per hour. We also have some air quality alerts scattered throughout parts of California and Colorado there, and other than that, there's not a lot going on in terms of watches and warnings, and really it has been very quiet over the past few days and weeks. So we are going to start to go into a bit of a quieter period, and then right around the 28th or 29th is when we're going to start to get into this very cold air mass and potentially a couple of snow events that I'll be tracking here on my channel. Now, here is my average first snowfall map here from the data from NOAA. So I just put it onto my map style, and we're going to show you where these areas, the areas that I expect to see snowfall anywhere between August, September, and October, and then even going through November 15th, because I do think even if you do typically see your snowfall before November 15th, between November 1st and 15th, I think this year it'll be cold enough that you will see that your snowfall probably in October, and we'll talk about that in just a little bit. So here in these kind of pink areas, pinkish gray areas over some isolated high mountaintops in Montana, Wyoming, and Colorado, this is where you expect your first snowfall October 1st or earlier, so anytime in September or into August. And of course, these areas already saw snowfall from that big winter storm. Now here is the area that expects to see snowfall between October 1st and 31st. Now, this includes some higher elevation areas in parts of Oregon, Washington, Nevada, California, and then all throughout the Rockies, and then into parts of the plains, the northern Great Lakes, and also the interior northeast, where you expect your average first snowfall to be October 1st or to October 31st. So any time in the month of October is when you expect your first snowfall. And then here in this dark blue region, this is the last region we'll look at, this is where you expect your first snowfall between November 1st and 15th. And this year, I think if you do on average see your snowfall before November 15th, I think all of these regions from the dark blue into the gray and also those pinkish gray shades, this is where I think all of these regions will most likely get some amount of snowfall as we get into October. And most likely, if you're in the dark blue, it'll most likely come in the later part of October. But still, I think just because of how cold it's going to be very abnormally cold. I think these areas could see their first snowfall sometime in October, even though that is earlier than normal. Now, here is the snowfall map from the European Ensemble model, a collection of 50 models, and we do see some of those areas all throughout the plains, the Rockies, and also into the northern Great Lakes, looking at some potential snowfall. Now, here is the GFS Ensemble model, just to give you a little bit of perspective. We're looking at some snowfall for the interior northeast, and then we do see some snowfall there for parts of the Rockies. Now, just to point out, this is only going through the 10th of October for both of those models, so this is not going out very far in October, and I do think you'll see a couple of little clipper systems that come down and maybe bring some snow showers to the northern plains, the northern Great Lakes, or maybe even into the interior northeast, and we'll talk about that a little bit later in the video. Now, let's start talking about why this is happening. We're going to start off with your temperature anomaly map from the European Ensemble model, and then every frame we'll look at the actual daily low temperatures for that day. Now, we're looking at the core of the cold starting off in parts of the northwest, and something that really changed in the models is that we're seeing this cold air mass move in quicker, because we are seeing actually a cold air mass come in from parts of the northwest, and that'll be digging its way into into parts of the eastern United States. So we will still see that cold air mass come in through Ontario and dip down, but we'll see that merge with another air mass coming in from the Pacific Northwest. So we kind of have a double whammy of cold air masses that are going to come in over the next few weeks. Now, here would be by September 26th. Here's your low temperatures. You see in the northwest, we have some temperatures, especially in the higher elevations, getting down to near 20, 25, 28, 29 degrees. So in the upper 20s, low 30s there. Now, here would be by Sunday morning, and we're looking at that cold kind of expanding in those blues. And once you get into the greens and the purples, that's where you're seeing the blue, the cold temperatures. And in the oranges, the yellows, and the reds, that's where you're looking at the warmer than normal temperatures. Now, this would be by Sunday the 27th, and we're still looking at 30s and 20s for parts of the northwest, especially in these higher elevation regions. Now, here would be by Monday morning, and it's really starting to move into the plains by this point, and it's headed eastward. Now, we're looking at also another area of cold air over parts of just to the north of the UP of Michigan. That is going to be dipping further to the south and converging with this area, which is still on its way out to the east. So you're going to see this cold air mass kind of just sit over parts of the eastern United States for quite a while. It's not going to be able to move anywhere, so you're going to be stuck in a cold pattern. Now, here would be what your low temperatures look like, and we're seeing in the plains some low temperatures in the 50s and also some 40s as you get further to the north. Now, here would be by Tuesday morning, and that cold air has moved further to the south, but look, that cold air in the Great Lakes is still expanding, and that'll eventually dive further to the south. Now, let's continue this. Here's what that looks like in terms of your low temperatures from the European, and we're looking at low temperatures in the 50s, and as you get further to the south, maybe closer to 60, but as you get to the Great Lakes, the northern plains, you're looking at temperatures actually in the 40s, but still, for the eastern, I would say, quarter of the United States, you're still looking at some pretty warm temperatures, but that is going to change as you get into Wednesday morning, September 30th. You're looking at that cold air overtaking much of the eastern United States, except for the northeast, where you're looking at still warmer than normal temperatures, but the core of the cold is still nosediving to the south. We see another air mass moving out of Ontario, Canada, and then we see some cold air still over parts of the southeast. So this one came in from the northwest and nosedived to the south. This one is coming in from northern Canada and is going to nosedive to the south as well, and they're going to converge, like I said before. Now, here would be by Wednesday, September 30th on your low temperatures, and we're looking at low temperatures getting down to around 50 for many areas, and even as you get to the north, some 40s. Now, here would be by October 1st, and we're looking at that cold air getting more widespread and more intense. This would be by Thursday, October 1st. Here's what that looks like in terms of low temperatures, and you're actually starting to see some frosts and freezes for the northern plains and northern Great Lakes, as well as for much of the Rockies, even in the areas that aren't highly elevated. Now, here would be by October 2nd, and we're looking at still that cold air over parts of the central and eastern United States, and it's moving a little bit further to the east by this point. Here would be by Friday, October 2nd. Here's what your low temperatures look like, and for much of the northern plains, we're looking at some frost and freezes likely, and for the rest of the eastern United States, we're getting down into the 40s and the 50s. Now, here's the for October 3rd, and we're still looking at that cold air still over the eastern United States, but it has shifted slightly more to the east, and it has intensified a little bit. Here would be by Saturday, October 3rd. Here's what your low temperatures look like, and frost and freeze is now likely for parts of the Great Lakes and also for parts of the Midwest there, and also for parts of the interior Northeast. Don't be surprised if some frost and freeze warnings do go up into early October, late September. Now, here would be by October 4th, and we're going to stop looking at the low temperatures for this by this point. Now, we're looking at, for much of the eastern United States, still some cold air in place. Here would be by Monday, October 5th. Still, it's in that cold air is still in place. Here would be by Tuesday, October 6th. That cold air, again, still in place, the heart of the cold over parts of the southeast. Here would be by Wednesday, October 7th, and that cold air is, again, still in place for parts of of the southeastern United States. Here would be by October 8th, and this is our last frame, I believe, and we are looking at still some cold air over the eastern United States. Now, here's your 6 to 10 day temperature outlook from the Climate Prediction Center, and we're looking at a high likelihood over 80% over parts of the central United States, where you could be looking at, again, anywhere from 70 to about 80 or 90% chance of cold air from 9/29. So this would be by September 29th to October 3rd. And then here would be your 8 to 14 day outlook from the first day of October to October 7th. And it's moving a little bit further to the east, and that cold air is centered over parts of the southeast by this point. Now, that is going to wrap it up for today's video. Please consider liking the video, subscribing, and turning on notifications, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Goodbye.